Amy,
I'm Julia.
and this is Women Worth in Weddings.
Hello.
Hi. This is a good one because we have learned a lot this year. We're always learning. I think once you get to a place in your life where you're like, I know everything, then it's time for you to die. That's just how I feel. Because you're not learning anything. Life's about learning. Life's about
What are you going to do when you retire? You're just going to be like, I'm done.
I'm going to take classes. I'm going to figure shit out that I don't know about. You always have to keep learning. Anyways, so we have, and I feel like backing up, venues and vendors in the wedding industry are constantly redoing their contracts because of things that have happened, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
So we just want to share with you some things that we've learned over the past couple months that will help you when planning your wedding.
Yeah, because we are like in the middle of our spring season.
Yeah.
And we have been going since February. So
yes,
we have experienced a lot. We've had at least 2 weddings every single weekend, basically.
2, 3, 4.
Oh, gosh.
A week.
Make my hair fall out.
I know. I'm so sorry. That's my bad. Okay, so let's start. What's the first?
So we've had some issues with timelines recently. So we're going to kind of like pop in onto that subject and the importance of timelines. I think, you either respect the planner's timeline and you understand why there's a timeline, or you think it's okay if we push it back.
It's not okay.
So it's a puzzle. When we build timelines out, it is a puzzle based off of every vendor's contracts and what the couple wants and what the venue allows.
I try to, I should say, get in contact with the photographer prior to, because they have their own timeline too.
Yeah. So we marry
the timeline so that it all makes sense. It's a beautiful, well-oiled little piece of paper that everybody gets.
We never allow a wedding day to come and the photographer comes with their own timeline. We've always touched base beforehand and, seeing what they have in mind. So we get the gist of like what their timeline typically looks like, but they'll have a more detailed photography timeline.
100%.
And so we've had some weddings where the timeline's kind of gone out the window because of other vendors, and it's not good.
No.
So what typically happens is other vendors don't respect the timeline. The couple gets less time to actually enjoy their wedding day at the end of the night.
Yeah.
That open dance floor is cut.
Yeah. The man doesn't get to be, whatever. You don't get to dance as long. You don't get to enjoy the reception as long.
Yeah.
And it really, really, really makes your wedding planners very frustrated because we are controlling the timeline. We are ultimately in charge of the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And so when other vendors come in and mess things up, then
it turns into our fault. Yeah. It's like, well, today was great, but we didn't get enough dancing time. And it's like, I'm so sorry, your photographer or your DJ threw it off, or catering threw it off. I'm so sorry, we built out your timeline. And it's also, if any vendor messes up, they look to us. How did your planner deal with that mess up?
Yeah.
Like that vendor, yeah, that's an issue. Like we're irritated with them, but how did your planner deal with that?
Yeah.
And so all eyes are always on us wedding day.
Always.
Anything happens, it's how are we going to deal with it?
Yep. So timelines are important. So when building out your timeline as a couple, know that yes, it's frustrating sometimes because we're constantly like, okay, it's time to do cutting the cake. It's time for your first dance. And you feel like you're being pulled a lot. So when you are working with your planner to build out your timeline, just know that that's basically their script for the day.
Yeah.
And so it's frustrating to get pulled in different directions, like in a period of time throughout the timeline, like time to cut your cake, time for your first dance, time for speeches. But know that after those things are done, like you call it front loading the timeline, then you can party.
Yeah.
You can do what you want. Then we'll just make eye contact with you randomly and be like, you good?
Yeah. So if you push back, couples cannot push back ceremony time. Like, let's just start with that. You cannot push your ceremony time back unless it's an emergency, because we're all contracted a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
The night is done when the night is done. If you push ceremony back 30 minutes an hour, your night's just cut by 30 minutes an hour.
Yeah. You can't. I had someone ask me, well, won't they just can't we just stay? And I'm like, no, you can't. You got to get out of the venue at a certain time.
Yeah.
Your photographer's leaving. Your videographer's leaving. Like everything has to be done.
Yeah.
So
dinner is prepped and ready to be served at a certain time.
Yeah.
Salads had to be placed at a certain time. Things need to come out of the heater boxes or they're being freshly cooked at a certain time. It's a huge domino effect if anything changes.
Yes. So,
And there's wiggle room when it comes to like when you want to do your toast sometimes during dinner or like when you want to cut the cake. If dinner takes way less time than we originally allotted for, then there's wiggle room, but major things that throw it off is ceremony time,
cocktail hour,
and photo time. The longer you take the couple away before open dance floor, the less time they have for open dance floor.
Yeah. So let's start this episode off with timelines are important.
The Bible.
Yes.
Timelines are a wedding day Bible.
Yes. Please.
Let's all follow the Bible, please.
Yes.
So you also wanted to touch base, with building relationships with vendors before the wedding.
So going into a wedding day, sometimes you haven't worked with these vendors before. A lot of times we do. We work with same vendors over and over again. But so you don't want, or I shouldn't say you. I don't like to go into a wedding not having spoken to the people that I'm working with a day. Because you want them to like, know, and trust you. You want them to be like, okay, she's our person. She's the captain on this ship. We're going to listen to her. We're not going to go rogue. We're going to, we're going to be team. We're doing this together. And so I try to talk to all the vendors and make sure that they don't have any questions about the timeline. They know my cell phone number so they can call me if something happens the day of. And they know who I am when they get to the venue because I'm the person that's going to greet them when they get there. And so it just really helps cultivate a relationship so that when you get there on wedding day, everybody's happy to see each other. Like the photographer, I have an upcoming wedding on Saturday. I've talked to this photographer probably 3 times this week alone, and we're both really excited to work with each other because we have cultivated a relationship. We're like, sweet, okay, awesome. And so I feel like that's just so important for planners to do that.
Yeah, because it's a lot of trust. Like we said earlier, if any vendor messes up, it's how did your planner deal with that? We do not want any wild cards. We want to know when everyone's arriving, how long everyone's going to be there for. We want to make sure everyone acknowledges your layout and timeline. Like if someone doesn't acknowledge a layout and timeline, I always check in with them. Like, hey, just want to make sure you saw it.
Yeah.
They're usually like, oh yeah, so sorry. Like I did see that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But like we have to know that you saw it. Because then also vendors, one thing that we struggle with is we'll send out the timeline and layout, and then you, instead of searching your search bar, will go to the couple and say, I haven't gotten anything, but we sent it to you 2 weeks ago. And so you need to actually search so-and-so's timeline or Julie events.
And guess what?
It's there from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The worst is when it's the couple is like, hey, like the so-and-so said you haven't sent them anything. And I'm like, I actually sent that to them a couple weeks ago.
No,
it makes us look bad.
I resend it and I CC the couple on it, and I'm like, so they can scroll down and be
what I always do is I forward what I sent 2 weeks ago to that person and be like, hey, see, I sent it. You just didn't look.
Yeah. Punch you right.
Try harder. Can you look harder?
Yeah.
Please. It makes us look bad.
It does.
And it's like,
we're like,
we did our job so long ago, but your other vendor just didn't look.
Yeah.
Don't do that to us. Makes me want to punch you in the nose. Anywho. Yeah, so it is really important for us to, touch base with all the vendors beforehand. We want to know, all the things.
Yeah.
Because it just takes one person going rogue for everything to get thrown off.
Well, then sometimes you look at the timeline and you're like, oh, actually, Amy, I had a vendor. Oh, actually, Amy, I'm not coming in at 11. I'm going to be there at noon. Perfect. Okay. Make a note.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Then at 11 o'clock, I'm not blowing you up saying, where are you?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be here.
Yeah. And then also, if you know you're going to be showing up at a different time than what the timeline says, like let us know.
Yeah.
So we can, make that note because, day of, if the couple and us think you're showing up at 2:30 and you're in your head like I'm actually showing up at 3, but we just think you're 30 minutes late, and everyone's like, where are they? Where are they? And we're like, I don't know. We're trying to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Like,
communication is key.
It is. It is. Communication is major. One thing that we have struggled with is wind. Wind has been a thing this past month.
Asshole. Oh, the wind.
Yes, if you're doing an outdoor wedding and you plan on using an easel for basically any signage, it's gonna fall on the ground.
Yeah.
It's gonna fall. Just put it inside. It's gonna
put it inside.
If you want a welcome sign, you probably should just do a wood, like heavy welcome sign, like a custom one
that has stakes in the ground.
Yeah, anything, any foam board from Etsy,
Yeah.
like a frisbee, just off,
Yep.
far away. And we will be fixing it every couple of minutes. But when ceremony starts and we're lining everyone up, we are not going to be fixing that welcome sign because we
Mm-mm.
can't.
Yeah.
We will
So
do everything. I've used wire, I've used, sandbags, cement blocks, Velcro, command, like glue, you name it. We've tried everything, but easels, it'll just be like closing on itself, flat on
yeah,
the ground.
it really is difficult. And so when you're planning a wedding and it's an outdoor wedding and you're like thinking about how you're wanting everything set up the day before,
Yeah.
take into consideration the wind.
Any flyers, anything put on a chair,
Yeah.
if you're anywhere near the coast or by water,
No,
that's not going to
it's
stay on
never
the
going to
chair.
happen. It's not
Yeah.
going to happen.
Anything that's being laid out on your welcome table, unless it's a card box, it is not going to stay there.
No.
I'm so sorry. My wedding on Friday, nothing on the welcome table could stay. It was like literally just like the linen was being flipped up into it and everything was just like blowing away. It's
Yeah.
just like, I'm so sorry. Your
It's
welcome
bad.
table is not presentable when the wind is bad.
Yeah. I had to change an entire floral arbor from an actual arbor arch to a ground arbor because the wind was so bad. I even tried to take fishing wire and tie the arbor to the building.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
we
like,
try everything.
I'm
We
like,
really do.
okay. And then it just like, finally, I'm like, okay, I have to.
Because you
And
waste so much time on it before you just have to pull the trigger
yeah,
on something else.
this is not another reason why it's super important to build that relationship with your wedding planners, even if you're just month of, because you need to be able to trust them the day of that they're going to make decisions
Hmm.
that are for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, because there is stuff that pops up like, oh, we planned on hanging these mason jars on our chairs down the aisle. Well, your mason jar is top heavy and it's flipping right over.
Yeah. Or remember that time? Remember that time that somebody wanted us to hang pictures from the tree?
Yes, and
And
it
it
was
just
just
like,
like spinning nonstop. Yeah, like that's gonna look really distracting and weird during ceremony.
oh my gosh, the things.
Yeah, things happen. I tried to put a green wall outside on the windiest day in Charleston last week, and it was a fabric green wall, and it just was gonna float away. And I made so many holes in that green wall to the point where I had to throw it away that night because I was trying so hard. I spent like a solid hour, you know, floral wire and normal wire and zip ties and cement blocks. I tried so hard that the thing was broken by the end of the night. I had to move it inside before ceremony because it was just going to fall on someone's head. And it looked bad inside because it had been beat down so much from the wind.
Yeah, wind. Wind's a tough thing. So take that. And if you're getting married anywhere on the coast, then
Acrylic plates,
acrylic plate's
no.
not going to be on your table.
Acrylic cups, not on the table. Any acrylic flatware. Your napkins and menu probably will even fly off if you
Yeah.
don't have like a plate or anything to hold it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wind is not a wedding vendor's best friend.
no.
It is actually,
My enemy. I hate
like,
that thing.
you just want to be like, oh, like, how many times am I going to pick up these napkins to the point where, like, these napkins are getting dirty,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
And we can't just set up right before ceremony because it takes hours for setup.
Yeah. 3 hours working on that arbor before I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm making an executive decision.
Yeah. All is to be said, if you see minor changes wedding day, just know we tried so hard.
Yeah.
You just have to have your trust in the planner and knowing that we did really try.
And I feel like we're good about having relationships with our couples because most of the time,
They
95%
don't
of the
question
time
it.
on the wedding day, they're like, I trust you, just do whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus, we don't want to constantly go bother you when you're getting hair and makeup done.
Yeah.
We don't want to be like, hey. I'll tell you if it's major, but if it's not major,
I
it's
did
just
tell the
like,
bride about the,
well,
because
yeah,
it was a
that's a whole
whole
different
different look.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is the deal. But I had been helping her plan her wedding for over a
Yeah.
year. So she was just like, it's fine. Do what you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. So overall, you just gotta trust your planner because there's gonna be minor stuff that we just gotta call a day of.
Yeah.
So, send-offs. So huge thing here is send-offs. You need to know when you are booking your photography, a 6 minute, it's not 6 minutes, 6 hour time slot for photographer is really hard on your timeline because they will not be able to capture as much before ceremony and they will not be staying to the end of the night. So just know that. I know it's the cheapest option, but 8 hours is really where it's
Eight
at.
hours is key and have them start at like 2 o'clock so they're there at the end.
Yeah.
Because this is what happens when you do a faux send off.
Mm-hmm.
You break up the entire reception.
Yeah.
So everybody has to go outside. And even though we tell everybody this is not the end of the night, you're coming back in to dance, it is
It kills the vibe.
nearly impossible to get people back in and back into party mode.
Mm-hmm.
People feel like send off is the end of the night, so
Yeah.
then they stay outside or people leave,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just, it doesn't work.
Yeah, or it takes forever for them to get outside because everyone's drinking in party mode. So you're just telling a bunch of drunk people to come line up.
Yeah.
And it's really hard.
So if you want to do a faux send off, if that's your heart's desire, then do it with your wedding party.
Yeah, just your wedding party.
Just your wedding party.
People that you know can come in and out.
Let everybody else stay in there and have a party. Let the DJ keep playing music. You bring your wedding party, your parents outside, you do a faux send off, and then everybody comes back and joins the party because the party's still happening.
Yeah, because the open dance floor is really a buildup of like getting people.
Right? Is that right? Yes.
It's really just like a buildup of that DJ working to get everyone on the dance floor. And if you are at the best part of the night where everyone's on the dance floor, you don't want to take them away because then they're not going to get built back up in time.
No.
You know,
it's going to be really hard, and it's such a buzzkill for the DJ. It's like, I mean, I just don't like it. So if you do a fake send off, do it with just your wedding party.
Yeah.
Let the party keep happening inside.
Yeah.
Get your pictures, let the photographer leave, and then you come back and join the party.
Also, one thing I think is super important when looking at the photography timeline and contracts, you do not want that photographer showing up too close to your ceremony. Have them at least show up 2 hours before ceremony because, you know, things happen and you don't want that photographer to be delayed to the point where you don't get, you know, a proper amount of things captured before ceremony.
Yeah.
And so I would never want any vendor to show up too close to ceremony because it leaves too much room for a mess up. And if we can't help it based off of your contract, then you're just taking a risk right there.
Yeah.
So, yep. We also front load our timelines. With that, we mean that we get everything done. Like I'm talking grand entrance, toast during dinner. And then we end dinner with cake cutting, first dances, any bouquet tosses, done for the rest of the night until send off. We knock it all out so you have uninterrupted dance time.
You want that dance time.
Yeah.
You want to be able to have a good 2 hours of full party mode.
Yeah.
Because you paid for that.
Yeah.
You want that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we try to make that happen the best that we can.
Yeah. And that's also the importance of following your planner's timeline is we want you to enjoy the night. And we built that timeline so you would enjoy the night. And if it gets thrown off too much, then you don't get to enjoy it.
Honestly, it doesn't matter how hard we work and how perfect everything goes the entire day. If at the end of the night, the last 2 hours is disappointment, shit show, like people are leaving, it ruins the entire wedding.
Yeah.
Everything is like, that's the last memory that you have.
Yeah.
So
like I didn't get to enjoy the band.
I didn't get to dress the band. And band's a big deal because the band, they take breaks, they do all this stuff. And so if you're getting a band, then we suggest that you have your band start playing during dinner. Yeah. Like have them start during dinner so that everybody can enjoy them during dinner. And you're getting to hear the band play for a longer extended period of time because they, you know, they're just a whole different beast.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Oh, we have some guests joining us. This is Harley. She has been very loud today. So if you've heard, yep, both of them. They are here. Okay, so last call. We typically don't like doing last calls because it's making everyone drink way too much before leaving.
And most venues won't even allow you to make
because then people are chugging drinks and then leaving, and it's hitting them when they're leaving. Yeah. And then also bar needs to close 30 minutes before send off. Yeah. Like 30 minutes before the end of the night. Because people really just should not be drinking. And also a lot of venues require them to have a cutoff time before
people leave.
Yeah.
100%.
It's just for safety for everyone. Private dance.
That's another thing that falls into, I mean, I love a sweet private dance, but just know, like, you're going to be standing there. We're going to be saying, everybody get outside. They're doing a private dance. No one listens. The DJ's frustrated. We're frustrated. It takes... So I think that, I don't know. I mean,
I like the idea of it, but just know that there's going to be some people in there most likely. And we
It's not
are
going to be
drunk people don't listen.
drunk people do not listen.
Adults don't listen in the first place, but drunk adults, it's a different form that we are battling.
It's like people were like, "Oh, it's like herding cats." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's like a bunch of toddlers that are in their terrible twos that are trying to."
Yeah, you're like I've told you 2 times now that we need everyone outside, and you just like stare at me blankly and continue your conversation.
Yeah.
So,
I had someone say to right in front of my face, because I was trying to get everybody outside for send off, and I had told this little group of people so many times, and they continued. They're like, "Okay, we're going," and they kept talking, and I was like, "You guys need to go outside," and they started walking, and he was like, "She's a bitch," right in front of me,
yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, if you only knew how much I will stab you right in the
Yeah,
back."
people are just really mean to us at weddings, to be honest.
Yeah.
Everyone feel bad for us.
I mean, not everybody. I mean, most people
No.
are good, but
Sometimes we have really good groups, but then you also just get like, really disrespectful people. And we do have to tell people so many times, all right, everyone get into like the dinner space. Like the couple would like to go ahead and do their grand entrance. We have to say this so many times. And I most of the time get ignored until the DJ makes it over a speaker.
yeah, we should get one of those little like what are they called megaphones? And be like,
I want like
huh?
just like a loud noise, like a little like in their ear. So like,
I
it's me
said go.
again. Go inside. And it's strike 3. Get out.
Oh my gosh. I think we should like hand out like tickets. So like little tickets and people think they're winning something and we just walk by them and we give them tickets. And once it gets that like it starts with a green ticket, that's like you've been
Mhm.
like we told you. Yellow ticket, it's like you've been warned. Red ticket, they have to leave the park.
Yeah. Like your cards are being pulled like
Yeah.
you're in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was me. Pull a yellow card. They'd be like, what? I don't know. Something happens to adults at weddings, but we deal with all kinds of stuff. You have to have thick skin in this
Mhm.
industry. That's for any
You
wedding
do.
vendor,
Yeah, any wedding vendor.
photographer, catering, bar. Like we all get pushed around a lot. So you got to have some thick skin.
Yeah.
Because like we say, like everything comes down to how did your planner react
Okay,
and deal
yeah.
with that.
Was your planner nice? Like literally couples download after the wedding and ask guests, did you have fun and all this
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah.
And you don't want them to be like, your wedding planner was a jerk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, okay. 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 Plated dinner, that's something that we have, struggled with recently. I get the appeal of plated dinner. It's the most expensive option. So you would expect it to run the most smooth, but it just doesn't. And a lot of caterers hate it. It's because sometimes oh my gosh, what's happening?
there's a process to it. You
Yeah.
have to, when you have your guest RSVP, unless everybody's getting the same meal,
Hmm.
you have to have them say like steak, chicken, fish,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And then you have to have a seating chart with little name cards that have what they're eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the caterer also has to have that so
They
they
have
can
to have a
say,
list.
yeah,
Like, I think when the catering company like does not clarify, like, oh, you're getting plated dinner. This is what the requirements for plated dinner. They just assume the couple knows to make a list of what everyone wants. That's not going to happen.
no,
Never assume is what you learn in this industry.
yeah,
Never assume that people know because they don't.
they don't. And even if they do, they're gonna act like they don't.
Yeah. Like, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Like, well, now your caterer has to walk around to each guest and find out
who's
what they
got
want.
this? Yeah,
And you don't want that. You don't want things to be clunky. You don't want things to not run smooth.
I can tell
So,
you one of the smoothest plated dinner that I've ever seen in my life was when we did that wedding at
hotels,
that hotel,
Omni,
the Omni. I mean, they have
Omni, the Grand Bohemian, a
oh,
hotel, they'll nail a plated
they
dinner.
nail it. They like have this staff that comes out and it's like, be our guest,
Yeah,
be our
and
guest. And they're like laying
yeah.
in place. You're like, oh my
But
God, this is
hotels are
great.
also really good at making sure that everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
And they don't let couples assume. It's
Yeah.
very like, this is it.
Yes.
These are our rules. They're very stern. They're very strict on everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, just really, really just get a planner. Have a planner.
Yeah. The importance of a planner. I don't know what would happen sometimes if I wasn't there. It wouldn't happen. It would not happen, right? I can
Yeah.
tell you that.
It would just be like, oh.
Like, they didn't get to dance that night.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I haven't been there for some of my weddings, they wouldn't have been able to dance. Things would have just gone to the point where like dinner is ending and the night's over.
Yeah.
So,
And if you have a food truck, last thing, food truck, a lot for 90 minutes for dinner
yeah.
because it takes more time. First of all, if you have more than 90 to 100 guests, you have to get 2 food trucks. You
Mhm.
can't expect 130, 120, 150 people to all get food from one food truck. So,
Yeah, being cooked on the spot.
yeah, 2 food trucks is key. And then also, like, you know, a lot more time for dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right.
And if you've heard a weird noise this whole time, it's because my lovely dogs are very needy because I've been in Charleston and they are chewing a very loud bone underneath this table. So that's life. This is real life.
This is the life of a wedding planner. You just have to roll with it.
We're rolling with that.
You just have
all
to
the
roll
time.
with that all the time, constantly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, these are our pain points. We're going to learn from these things. We're going to put things in place, but just know if you're planning your wedding and you're watching this, learn from us and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
don't do these things. All right, now we're going to go drink and take a nap.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. All right, guys, have a good day. If you have any comments, questions, or you want to tell us something that are, you know, that's happened to you at a wedding,
Yeah.
put it in the comments.
We love hearing other vendor stories.
We love it. So good. So,
Yeah.
all right. We will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.